back at it again, and we've got a good one today, ladies and gentlemen. A great one. Now, I've got several clips I'm going to be showing you guys, quite a few actually, so stick around, all right? Stick around. Grab a snack and a drink of your choice, kick back and relax, okay? But, I find something very, very interesting that's happening in today's political climate, and I want to discuss it with you guys. Like, share, comment, hit that subscribe button if you are new. Also, if you would like to help me out even further with this YouTube algorithm too, watch this video to the very end. It helps out tremendously. I would greatly appreciate it. And with that being said, let's dive in.
Where they stand today. First, that national GOP primary, you can see, as you were just mentioning, this YouGov Economist poll just came out. Donald Trump now breaking 50% in that poll against all of his rivals. And so it does look like we're going to see, at least at this point, a Trump versus Biden rematch, which a lot of Americans say that they're not thrilled with, but that seems to be where the polling is going. Let's take a look at where the head-to-head stands today. Again, a YouGov Economist poll within the margin of error. And this is one of these things that we have seen over and over the last number of months, whether it's Biden slightly ahead or Trump slightly ahead. This is a horse race, folks, and we're going to continue to be following these polls and the trends as we go into the fall and into the primaries here at Newsmax. Now, one of the things that you'll hear me say over and over is that we don't have a national presidential election. We actually have 50 statewide races that make up a presidential election. So we're going to be bringing to you the state polls, and we're going to see more of them as they start, as we get into the fall and into early next year. Let's take a look at one that came out in early August in Arizona, key swing state. You see Donald Trump up by 2. He just barely lost the state in 2020. He's up by 2, but again, within the margin of error. Let's go over to Georgia. This one's a little bit older of a poll, but it's important. Now we're going to see the show trial of the century in Georgia unfold potentially over these next number of months. Is this number going to move? Donald Trump ahead by 4 points in this poll in early June, but it was.
I predict this number for Trump is going to be a bit higher.
Before that fourth indictment. Keep an eye on Georgia. We'll be following the trends there. On over to Michigan. Again, within 1 point, this is a key state, but a state where Donald Trump seems to be holding his own after the loss there in 2020. And this is still a toss-up. Over to New Hampshire. New Hampshire, you got a lot of folks moving from Massachusetts up into New Hampshire over the last few years. That looks like it could be impacting almost permanently the electorate there and how they handle these presidential contests. Joe Biden up in this poll from earlier in August. Pretty significantly. And then one more really key state, Pennsylvania. And Pennsylvania is sort of the granddaddy of the swing states in many respects. Trump ahead there by 2 points, a Franklin and Marshall poll from a couple of weeks back. And again, what you got to start looking at is whether or not, Trump is capable of winning those suburban votes outside of Philadelphia and Pittsburgh that could give him an opportunity to win that state. That's a must-win state for Republicans nationally. And I'm going to give you one more, and this is the generic ballot. There's no good news in here for anybody, guys. There's a tie here, and especially for Republicans who control the House, this is a sign that maybe what they're doing isn't resonating with the public. A generic ballot tie right here. So we're going to continue to follow all.
It isn't. And I'm not shocked about that, because we've talked about that before, and how I feel Republicans, way too many, are sitting on their hands. And, I suspect that after next election, we will have a new Republican Party. The Republican Party will look completely different than what it has in the past. You won't have the same type of Republicans that you've typically seen in the past. And I mean, from the voter perspective, the voters, the base won't look the same, right? Just the typical demographic. But then also the elected officials won't be the same either. I think you're going to get more, elected officials more like Matt Gaetz, more like Lauren Boebert, more of those types, more like Byron Donalds, more of those types of individuals in the Republican Party versus the Mitch McConnells and those other folks, right? You're not going to see too many of those in the near future, in my humble opinion. Y'all can let me know if I'm crazy in the comment section, but in my opinion, you won't get the, hey, I'm going to say I'm a Republican, but when it comes to actually doing anything, I'm not good. No, like, it's going to be Republicans that are actually going to get some stuff done, like the Matt Gaetz, the Lauren Boeberts, the Byron Donalds, etc. I think those are the types that you'll see more of in the Republican Party, in my humble opinion. But y'all can let me know in the comment section how you're feeling and how people around you are feeling about your elected officials. If they're Republican, how do you guys feel about them? Will you guys reelect them? Are the people around you talking about reelecting them? Let me know. Do you guys agree that you would prefer the Matt Gaetz, Byron Donalds type of, Republican? Let me know. But, there's more. Okay, and I want to dive into these other clips here because, I think it's really, really funny when people push out this narrative that it's over. Let's dive into it.
Towards the end there, it is kind of shocking in a way that despite all of the baggage that Donald Trump carries, he's tied with Joe Biden right now.
Yeah, I mean, George, when I looked at that recent poll, the Wall Street Journal, I said, oh, this could keep me up at night. Look, the problem is, and the biggest challenge we face as Democrats, I say we because I'm a Democrat, is that young voters, young Black and Latino voters, they're not ready to come back to the party. They're not even looking at the so-called messaging that's being sent to them about the economy, about climate change, about student debt relief. They are worried about their future. And right now, they're looking for a leader who represents their values and their vision. And I think the president's campaign is going to have to really go deep and go hard to motivate those voters to come back within the Democratic Party coalition. Because without them, it is a tight race, and it's going to come down to force.
Oh, boy. They are in trouble. But also, Donna Brazile had more to say about this issue. Listen to what else she had to say.
But I have to say something, because, George, I'm old enough to say this. I've seen two movements outside of the social justice movements in my life on the political side. One was the Reagan movement. Reagan had a hold on his base, the country at large. They saw him as someone who was willing to stand up for American values, whatever that might have meant. Now, I thought it was reactionary. The other movement I saw was Barack Obama, hope and change. That galvanized the American people. I've never seen anything like this with Donald Trump. I mean, what doesn't kill you make you stronger? I mean, being convicted, being indicted, that's making him stronger. Raising $10 million using an ugly mugshot to raise money. This is a movement. And anyone who thinks that you can apply the old political rules to trying to defeat this candidate based on he's scary, he's ugly, whatever you might want to call him, this is a movement. And we have to respect the fact that it's a movement.
And we have to respect it. You got Democrats like Donna Brazile. I've never seen anything like this. I'm telling y'all, we are creating waves. And that's why I say the Republican Party will no longer look the same after 2024. It won't. In my humble opinion, it will not look the same. And I mean, it's all across the board where you have these. That was ABC. Here's some CNN clips. Check these out, man.
It was a 2-point race in February. Look where it is now. It's a 1-point race. That's well within the margin of error. But take away one thing from this, and one thing only if you take away only one thing. And that is, I think there are a lot of Democrats who simply can't believe that Donald Trump can be elected president again. The polling indicates that Trump is, in fact, in a stronger position at this point than he was during the entire 2020 campaign, according to the national polls. If we had state-level polling, I wouldn't even be surprised if Trump were ahead in the swing states that are...
It gets better, though. As I always say with these types of videos, man, there's more.
More evidence tonight that the Republican Party truly is Donald Trump's party. New Siena College New York Times polling that shows Republican voters favoring him by 54 to 17% over his nearest rival, Ron DeSantis.
There were 26 different demographic groups that got broken down. You know how many of those groups Donald Trump didn't lead amongst?
No.
0. He led in every single...
These were just Republican voters.
Just Republican voters, right?
And nationwide.
Correct. Nationwide, Republican voters. He led in all 26 groups, including his weakest groups. Those with a college degree still favor Trump by double digits. Those making more than $100,000 per year favored Trump by double digits.
Is there any evidence that, if the field were to winnow, well, what would the data show?
If, in fact, you eliminate all the other candidates besides Ron DeSantis, and it's just a matchup between Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis, guess who wins?
Let me guess.
Donald Trump. Donald Trump wins by over 30 points in that matchup.
We've tried to tell them. We've tried to tell them nicely who we want. We've told them over and over and over again, we want Trump. That is not going to change no matter who you push out in front of us, no matter how many indictments you throw at this man, no matter how much mud or whatever else you try to throw on his name. We want Trump. As Donna Brazile already said, this is a movement and you have to respect it. It's not going to change. This isn't the old times. This isn't the old political times where you could just push out another opponent in front of us and smear the other guy, and the other guy just fades off into the distance. No. It ain't happening this time. It ain't happening. But as I always say with these clips, man, there's more.
Trump's lead is even larger. So these are 3 polls that were out over the last week. Look at these leads for Donald Trump. He's at 62% of the CBS News YouGov poll. 57% in Quinnipiac University, 53% in the Fox News poll. Look at where DeSantis is in all these polls. Look how far back he is. He doesn't crack 20% in any of them. So in Iowa, you have that 20-plus point lead for Donald Trump. That's actually smaller than the lead we see nationally, where we see these leads of 35, 40, near 50 points in this particular case. Of course, the primary is one thing. If Trump wins the primary, can he go on and win the general election? And we've had 3 polls that have come out over the last week here. And I want you to take a look at how close this race is at this particular point. Granted, the general election is over a year away. The largest lead for Joe Biden is just 3 points within the margin of error. No clear leader. Look at these. 1 point, 1 point. If you go back at where we were at this point 4 years ago, Joe Biden's lead was high single digits to low double digits. This is significantly closer than where we were 4 years ago. So this idea that Donald Trump can't win the general election, I want you to lose that idea. This race is very, very close, and Donald Trump is polling better right now than basically at any point during the entire 2020 cycle.
After 4 indictments.
After 4 indictments. It just doesn't really seem to matter.
That's fascinating.
That's fascinating. Because we've tried to tell them, this is who we want, and they continually, oh, no, you can't have Trump. You can't have him. The people are waking up. So I want to play these last 2 clips, and I know I'm going to get you guys out of here shortly, all right? I won't keep you a whole lot longer. Give me just a little bit, okay? But I think this clip here that I'm about to show you really highlights what is going on with the Democrat Party and the awakening that's happening. Check out these 2 clips.
The left knows exactly how to bait black people because they use things like racism. The other day, Michelle Obama went on TV. She gave a whole speech, talked about how Trump was this and Trump was that. And at the very end of what she said, she made sure to say, and yes, it is racist. You know why? Because the minute you call anything racist or you add race into it, black people get emotional and they come out. Kamala did the same thing because they know how to bait black people in. Here's my thing, and I've told black people this before, who are Democrat. I don't try to convince Democrats to be Republican. What I try to convince them to do is know your history and read a little bit. Do your research. If you still want to vote Democrat, do what you do, but be an educated and an informed voter. Most Democrats can't tell you why they Democrats. They just hate Donald Trump. They can't even tell you what Biden did in 47 years, but they're going to vote for him. They can't tell you what Kamala did while she was in California, locking black people up left and right, but they're going to vote for her. When will the slaves get off the plantation? You know what happens when slaves get off their plantation? The house tell on them.
Woo! Oh boy. And I think that really highlights what's really happening because people are coming to the realization that, hold on, wait a minute. They're just baiting me. Every time there's, an election upcoming, gotta get some type of tensions going on. Gotta get some type of tension. Gotta get people riled up. People are waking up to the truth. People are waking up to the truth. And it is beautiful to see. Even people that don't even like Uncle Trump. Check this out.
I never stick up for Trump. I'm an independent and I see things on both sides and I see the positive and negative. Here's the deal though. When you are spending so much money, time, and energy on trying to take somebody down, it makes me want to look at things differently. Trump is no longer the president, yet this current administration, pretty much majority of the time, blames everything on Trump, even though they've been the current administration for 2 years. The fact that they're spending so much, again, time, money, and energy on trying to take him down, I'm starting to feel like maybe everything that he said was true. Like, I remember when he was first president, if you follow me, you know this, I was devastated, right? And he was saying things like fake news. And I was like, what a douchebag, right? And he was talking about how much evil there was and how the MSN, the mainstream media, and the liberals and Democrats were hiding from us and were actually doing some very sketchy, illegal, awful things. And I kept thinking, my God, he's lost his mind. But now, when the left, the media, the liberals and Democrats are trying so hard to take him down and silence him, I'm like, maybe he wasn't batshit crazy. Maybe he does have information and knowledge about things that they're doing, and that's why they're spending so much time, energy, and money on trying to take him down and silence him. Pretty much silence everybody who doesn't agree and toe the line. It makes me, and I hope a lot of other people, open their minds and their eyes and see what truly might be going on. I mean, at least pause, take a step back and think, could I be wrong? Could everything I've been told be wrong? And I think if you take some time and delve and do some research that's not just given to you, like go and delve in and get more information from more than one resource, your eyes are going to be opened. Now I'm awake, not woke. It's uncomfortable to see the things, and I get it, right? It might feel better not to know these things and believe these things, but it's dangerous if you don't see them and if you don't speak about them. By the time you do see them, it's going to be too late to speak about them and to fight back.
Well said. Well said. Shout out to her. She illustrated that perfectly. And I had the same type of moment, and you guys have been here on this journey with me the whole time. I just had a moment where, I just took a step back and I was like, why am I a Democrat? Or why do I feel I'm a Democrat? Could I be wrong? And I just started diving in, right? Just started diving into all of the information with a completely open mind, with as little bias as possible, right? Which that is difficult to have zero bias when you're going into, new information and new things, right? Because we're humans, we aren't perfect. But I tried to go into it with as little bias as possible. It's little bias. And even then, I still lean Democrat, right? At least I thought so. And look where I am now. After diving into the information, after listening to both sides, and I don't know, some of you may remember when I was diving into some of the debates and the back and forth, I was like, I want to hear more of this. And then I started seeing things where Democrats were like backing out. And I'm like, hold on, why are Democrats like not wanting to have this type of discussion? And when the discussions do happen, why are Democrats yelling and screaming at, the Republicans and walking away, right? And that's where the phrase that I came up with, when the facts come out, they run, came from. Because I was seeing this phenomenon happen over and over again. When the Republican would reply back to the Democrat with some of these facts and these statements, right, with this evidence to prove that the Republican was right, the Democrat would always revert to, well, not always, but a lot of the times would revert to the name calling, the yelling and the screaming, and they would leave every single time. And so I was like, man, when the facts come out, they run. Why would they run? Why wouldn't you, like, if it wasn't a fact, why wouldn't you stand there and dispute it, destroy it, dismantle it, or at least say, hey, yeah, I hear you, but I know that's not the truth. Now, I don't have the facts right here this very second, but give me a day and I'll come back and I'll have the facts to disprove whatever it is they have to say. No Democrat said that. Like, I would have been fine if they said that. Cool. Because not everybody has all the information. I don't have all the information. You know what I mean? Somebody could beat me in a debate because I don't know everything. I know that my side is right. The political side, if we have sides, I think we're all on the same team, right? But like, I would have been fine if a Democrat said that, but nobody said that. They just all name call, yell, scream, name call, storm off. That makes no sense to me. That gets us nowhere, right? So, after watching all of that, you just come to the conclusion that Republicans have been right this whole time. We've been bamboozled. We've been lied to, in my humble opinion. This has all been a smoke and mirrors campaign. in my humble opinion. Right. So, you know, I just found these clips very, very interesting, you know, because there are a lot of people on the left, I feel, that would like to say that Trump could never win. Trump is never going to be in office again. And yeah, I think I'd beg to differ. I think the people up top know that if they don't pull off something drastic, he is going to win. It's inevitable at this point. It's inevitable. They've pushed way too far and woken way too many people up to back down now. And as I've said in previous videos, it's going to get a lot worse. There's going to be some storms ahead. Hold the line. Hold the line. Stay peaceful. Don't get violent, because as I've said before, that's exactly what they want. We've seen these, in my humble opinion, these feds try to portray as if they're, you know, these right-wing, you know, antagonist groups marching out in the streets with their signs and yelling, you know, whatever negative things that they're yelling. You guys are familiar with those clips. I've talked about those, and there was a recent group wearing like red and black, I believe, in Florida or something. You know, I don't buy any of this stuff. They're all wearing masks, covering their faces, yelling all this terrible stuff. You know, I'm not buying it, right? Not buying it at all. Because when you get out here and you actually talk to Republicans, you don't get that, right? You don't get that messaging. You don't get that feeling. You get acceptance. You get love, true love, right? And it's a beautiful thing. It really is. Really is a beautiful thing. But yeah, y'all let me know how y'all feeling about all of this in the comment section below. Peace and love. I'm out.